The world of competitive esports is slowly starting to penetrate into the mainstream. While some genres, like tactical FPSs and MOBAs, garner a lot of attention, there are others that are not as well known. Competitive racing games fall into this category. While there are niche followings for realistic games like Formula 1 Esports Pro Scene and a tight-knit competitive community within the Mario Kart games, there are very few accessible racing games that also allow players to compete at super fast speeds. But there is one. This is about a mobile game, which has seen many different iterations over 15 years. Stemming from one of East Asia's most popular gaming franchises, this is KartRider Rush Plus. KartRider Rush Plus is the mobile iteration of Crazy Racing KartRider, also known as KartRider. It's a cartoon racing game that was released in the latter half of 2004 on PC. The game first came out in South Korea and was published by Nexon, a Korean game publisher founded in 1994. The game had no problem gaining initial popularity as it used characters from the Crazy Arcade universe, formerly known as Pop Tag in the West. While Mario is a household name in the West, in Korea, this chubby red-suited racer is almost equally as popular. In the same year as its release, KartRider beats StarCraft in games being played in internet cafes, which, being in Korea, is an incredible achievement. The game was so addicting that multiple companies had to block access to the game because office workers were playing on their lunch breaks and being unable to focus on their work.
When I was very young, maybe when I was like 8, 9, back when I was in Korea anyways. Actually, like my mom was a pretty devoted player in Kart back then. I just started playing on her account and I just thought it was really fun. I enjoyed the game. And I think back then, like it was like a newer game, so it was popping, you know what I mean? It was very popular in Korea, so I think everyone played, to be honest.
Even today, the PC game still tops the most played list in internet cafes in Korea with a healthy amount of casual and competitive players. There's also a rich history of esports, with official competitions being held and pro players still playing since the game's release. Take Moon Ho-jun for example, a KartRider legend who's been competing since he was only 8 years old and has taken first in over 10 championships. KartRider became a household name in Korea, and the game expanded into different regions. As time passed and KartRider grew in popularity, more ports of the game started to come out. With the game coming out in China in 2019 and the rest of the world in 2020, KartRider Rush Plus was most of the world's first opportunity to get their hands on the franchise. The free-to-play game has a library of characters and karts that are either unlockable through quests, event passes, or a paywall. Each character has small buffs that can do things like increase boost duration, and karts are upgradable in 4 categories. Every season, there are passes and gacha pulls used to obtain new karts. All serious players buy into this, as every season, a new kart comes out that is faster than any previous ones. Obviously, this is somewhat predatory, but we'll get into that later. KartRider also has similar drift functions to Mario Kart's manual transmission, but the boost system works differently in KartRider as you have to fill a nitro gauge instead of progressing through red and blue skid marks. Once the gauge is filled, your character receives a nitro boost, which accelerates your kart at intense speeds for a short duration. The main goal of the game is to keep your kart in a nitro boosted state while trying to drift through the entire course. This feat becomes more difficult because you can lose gauge if you hit a wall while drifting. The nitro boost slots are changed to items if you're playing in an item mode race, which involves item boxes throughout the course for drivers to pick up and use. There are 2 competitive modes in KartRider, Item and Speed. While both are played at the highest competitive levels, Speed is where most players find glory. With the maps being filled with sharp corners, secret shortcuts, and no items, this mode is pure mechanics. You can race for yourself or as a team, accumulating points per standing. One of the biggest things that keeps players coming back to KartRider is clubs. Clubs are a huge part of the game, as there are club battles that happen every Saturday and Sunday. Some clubs have been playing since the original KartRider game, and transferred over to KartRider Rush Plus, maintaining and continuing some of their history.
So there's this player called Hustler, and he's very big in West, and he actually organized some pretty big events. For example, like the Inverse Invitational. We did have like a little invitational kind of thing with, I think, basically all the clubs in West, or most of the clubs in West.
Not only that, but the game has had iconic collaborations with Porsche, BMW, and even Blackpink's Jisoo, each collaboration adding a new kart or a playable character. So you might be wondering, with such a well-designed game available to play for free, why isn't this game more popular? As of today, KartRider Rush Plus is the only version of KartRider available to download and play in the West. While the original KartRider was introduced in the past, with a PC beta released in North America in 2007, within a year, the game was shut down without any remark or statement from Nexon America. Not only did this happen to Western servers, but also the Southeast Asian servers, Russian servers, and Japanese servers as well, leaving a huge chunk of KartRider's player base in the dust. In 2011, Nexon America surprised KartRider fans with a mobile rendition of the game, KartRider Rush, the first mobile game ever released by the company. Though the game was limited to 4 players at a time through Wi-Fi or Bluetooth, Nexon America also released a Facebook clone of the game, enabling players to race against their friends online. Unfortunately, just like the original, all versions of KartRider Rush were shut down without remark or statement from Nexon America. With KartRider Rush Plus being released in countries other than Korea, China, and Taiwan, racers are now worried about history repeating itself. A lack of support for the game in certain regions shows that the company is iffy about fully supporting the title, and cracks are already starting to show.
The unequal treatment of players across different servers has been a huge issue in this game, with the main victims being players on the West and Southeast Asia servers. And then Nexon's almost tragically absurd unwillingness to communicate with its player base has made things even worse. I've never seen a game management team that is as unresponsive to the concerns of its player base as KartRider was in my entire life, as far as Southeast Asia and West.
The servers in NA and Southeast Asia are already being unfairly treated, being excluded from special events and rare items.
So in response to this rather discriminatory practice, I initiated a petition back in May 2021, and it was signed by over 1,000 players well within a couple of days. And ever since the petition was submitted, so about 2 months ago, there has been no response from Nexon. And about 5 weeks ago, I approached them for a comment and was told that they were too busy to respond. I mean, busy doing what? Absolutely outrageous, isn't it?
As previously mentioned, the game was released a year earlier in China. Since the Chinese servers are a few seasons ahead, Nexon releases content there first. But what they also do is copy and paste all of the karts and events that they use in the Chinese servers and re-release them everywhere else. Pretty much anywhere that's not China is getting year-old content and being told it's brand new. Nexon could release everything so that everyone's on the same playing field, but instead, they're slowly releasing content to milk as much money as possible. The tragedy of this whole story is that there is a huge esports scene for the game in its Asian regions. Tencent, the publisher for KartRider in China, launched the P1 League only a few months after their exclusive release. 16 pro teams, including notable teams such as LGD Gaming and Newbie Esports Club, competed in a chance to win a first-place prize pool of over $200,000 US. Nexon Korea hosted an exhibition match which featured celebrities and pro players when the game came out worldwide. They also held official tournaments throughout 2020 and started the KartRider Pro League just this May. The luxuries of playing in another server with a healthy player base, including the special features and events limited to that region, compelled players to transfer over. With the help of a VPN, KartRiders found a way to sign up and play on these main Asian servers. Drivers are finding the competition and actual support from the developers to be more than enough reason to move.
A lot of people, or for me anyways, I decided to download the KR server. There's a skill gap between West and Korea. So for example, like West Track Titan, compared to KR Titan, Track Titan. There's some maps that have like 3 or like even 4 second difference. So for people that maybe, you know, they want to get better, or they want to watch the pro replays and, you know, learn from that, I will feel like that's a huge advantage compared to West server. Besides the player base, obviously.
Not only does this split the already fading player base in smaller regions, but it gives another reason for Nexon to cut ties on their minor servers.
Really, it's difficult for free-to-play users or beginners to compete nowadays. There is a crying need for Nexon to provide decent free-to-play content, including cards and characters, if the company has any interest in sort of lowering the barrier to entry and expanding its player base.
The future of KartRider in the West is up in the air. Will Nexon America deliver, or will history repeat its course? Is there potential for a competitive scene in North America? Or are other games like Mario Kart, F1, or Gran Turismo simply too popular for KartRider to compete? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. This video is made possible thanks to our wonderful patrons. Massive thank you to everyone on this list, and shout out to Jason B, Brendan QB, David Foxy Iron, Lyra Mauve, Sierra Shampoo, Weeaboo Spartacus, and Yashichi for being platinum supporters. And an extra special shout out to Steven, Noodles, Marco, Mookie, and Orioriol for being diamond supporters. We'd also like to extend an extra special shout out to Fool from the Art of Warfare for being our Grandmaster supporter. Your continued support is much appreciated. If you also want to support our channel and unlock perks, check out the Patreon link in the description below or join our Discord server. If you want to help us out in a different way, leaving a like, subscribing, and hitting the bell to stay up to date is also appreciated. My name is Jonah, thanks for watching.